Hi guys, welcome back to another video. So today's video is a little different from the videos I've been making recently. It's kind of like an educational video. I'm going to be taking you through the process of how I got my mom's standard visitors visa approved. Now, if you watched my last video, I told you that her visa got denied the first time I applied, and after 2 weeks I applied again, and this time it got approved. I'm going to share the mistakes I made the first time and how I corrected those mistakes to make sure the visa was approved the second time. If you're interested in this video or you know someone that might be, continue watching or share it to them. So to start, I'm just going to give you guys like a rough breakdown of what the standard visitors visa is, like a dummy's guide to the standard visitors visa. And what better way to do this than to go on the gov.uk website. So we're going to go on the gov.uk website, and then where we see search, we're going to type in visitors visa. So it just comes up as standard visitors visa. We click on that, and visit the UK as a standard visitor, so we click on that, and it starts with an overview. So basically, you need a standard visitors visa if you are coming to the UK for tourism, business, study, courses up to 6 months, and other permitted activities. So you can usually stay in the UK for up to 6 months. You might be able to apply to stay for longer in certain circumstances, for example, to get medical treatment. And if you scroll down to the bottom, you will see where they talk about the cost. So for 6 months, which is what I applied for my mom, it is £115 for the visitors visa. And the earliest you can apply is 3 months before your travel. I applied for my mom about 2 months before her travel, and yeah, it was approved, so that was really good. You don't only get the option of applying for 6 months, you can also apply for 2 years, I think, but that's a little bit more expensive, but it's not like ridiculously expensive. Before you apply for a visitor's visa, I guess you're just trying to get people to make sure they need the visa before applying or before wasting their time applying. You need to check if what you plan to do in the UK is allowed as a standard visitor, check that you meet the eligibility requirements, check if you need to apply for a visa to visit the UK, and then apply for one online if you need one. So we have established that we are watching this video because we need a standard visitor's visa. Perfect. And then they listed some things that you're permitted to do, what you can and cannot do while on the visitor's visa. You can go through that if you have the chance, but that's not why we are here. We are here most importantly to talk about how to get the visa. So we're going to go to the eligibility requirements, and they've stated 4 things which I'm going to be really focusing on in this video. Now, you must be able to show that you leave the UK at the end of your visit, you're able to support yourself and your dependents during your trip, or have funding from someone else to support you, you're able to pay for your return or onward journey, or have funding from someone else to pay for the trip, you will not live in the UK for extended periods through frequent or successive visits, or make the UK your main home. So they want you to make sure you can prove all these things before they will approve the visa. Now, to be able to prove all these things, it depends on you. What documents are you providing? How can you best prove that you fit into these 4 criteria? If you prove to them beyond reasonable doubt that you meet all these requirements, they'll definitely give you a visa. Like, it's a no-brainer. The first eligibility requirement on the gov.uk website is that you need to prove that you leave the UK at the end of your visit. How did we prove this? My mom owns properties in Nigeria. Her and my dad own the house they currently live in. She owns cars. They own the business complex that they run. And so I put proof of ownership documents this time in the application. I also put information of her dependents. So I have all my siblings are all in Nigeria. My other ones and my younger brother, they're all in Nigeria. And so I put all the details of my siblings to make sure that it is clear that she has dependents in Nigeria. My dad drafted a letter of employment for my mom because she works with the company, although she's the vice president. But he was able to draft a letter of employment for my mom to prove that she actually works with him. Also, my dad wrote a letter of consent to say he was happy for his wife to visit, and that she was only going to be staying for a stipulated amount of time, where then she was going to return back home where they live together, and she was going to help him also with running the business. So they knew for sure that she will return back to her house at the end of the visit. I also wrote a letter which I'm going to go through with you very detailed. after I run through this eligibility requirement. And in that letter, I made sure I stated that she was not going to use any public funds, she was not going to overstay a welcome, and she was going to return back at the right time. I included family photos. I put like a proposed flight ticket. I didn't buy a ticket. I don't advise you to buy a ticket before you get your visa, but I just went on the airline's website and I got the ticket, and I just put that on to say, okay, she's flying on this date, there are tickets for that date, and she'll be returning on this date, there are tickets for that date, and the time and everything. I put that. And then finally, my mom is a chairperson of the deacons board at our church, and she's a deaconess also. My dad is a full-time pastor and a business owner after he retired. So I got a letter from the church that was drafted by the head of the church, the pastor, stating my mom's name, stating her position, stating that she plays a crucial part in the church and in her community, and she will definitely be returning back to her duties. So all this was more than enough proof to say that she will leave the UK at the end of the visit. The second and third point, which kind of go together, is you're able to support yourself and your dependents during your trip. You're able to pay for your return or onward journey, or you have someone to fund it. This time, I was very, very careful with this because I know that I'm going to be the one funding the trip. So I made sure I put enough funds in my account. So let's say the plan is for my mom to stay in the UK for 4 weeks, that's a month, and she's going to be spending £2,000. I made sure that I had over double the amount in my account, just to prove to them that I'm going to cover everything, and I'm not just going to cover that and then be stranded and not have money to pay my rent or to take care of my child or my husband, but that we will also still have more money to take care of ourselves. Not just that, also because my mom runs a business, her account is constantly having inflow of money in and out, and my dad also. So I put my dad's bank statement and I put my mom's bank statement, which shows money coming in and out, and made sure my mom's account had enough money that even if I was not supporting her, she'll be able to support herself. So there was that. If I'm going to be supporting my mom, I need to prove that we have a relationship. So I put my birth certificate, which show that I am my mom's daughter. I put my parents' marriage certificate, which show that they are married and they gave birth to me. I put my marriage certificate with Ozie to show that we are married and we are expecting a baby. I put a confirmation of my employment with my job here and the confirmation of my mom's employment, which was the same document that my dad had already drafted. I also added my lease agreement for my house where I stay currently, and I got a letter from my landlady to say that she has permitted my mom to stay for the stipulated time. And finally, I included receipts of money transfers that I have been making to my mom over the years, just to say, oh, I have actually been sending her money and yeah, we're in constant communication and stuff like that. So this was enough to prove that I will be supporting her, but not only that, she's also able to support herself financially if I don't support her. Lastly, according to the eligibility requirements, you have to make sure you will not live in the UK for extended periods through frequent or successive visits, or make the UK your main home. This kind of ties to the first 2 points. I didn't need to provide any extra documents for this. The letter that my dad wrote and the letter that I wrote was more than enough to cover this part. So we made sure we stressed very explicitly in our letters that she was going to return home, she was not going to return to public funds, and that she had strong ties at home that she needed to return to. She had commitments to her family and she had commitments to her local church and her community. So this proved to them that she was definitely going to go home. And then for me personally, because of the conditions surrounding my pregnancy, I got a letter from my consultant to say that I've had a really stressful pregnancy, which is high risk, and there might be complications during labor, and I would need my mom to help with recovery. I also got a letter from my midwife to say that I would need support after birth, and it would be helpful if my mom is there. And I also got my Mat B1 form. I got sick notes from work because I had so many sick notes from my GP, from work, I added all these things to prove that I really needed my mom. If you've been denied any visa before, they're gonna ask you on your application. And when they asked my mom if she's been denied, we stated that she has been denied. They asked when she was denied, we stated that it was just 2 weeks ago, but that was not a problem. That did not affect her getting the visa at all.